Okay, a post-grad Kahoot. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of Kahoot here. My students always loved Kahoot.
Mhm.
We did mention, Ryan mentioned that we do have a hard finish for today at 7 p.m. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you haven't gotten to put your name in the chat, you can still do so. We'll still be here reading the chat along the way. But we're going to start with an introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea McClure. I'm an assistant professor of STEM education in the School of Education at Notre Dame of Maryland. And I'm here with my co-host. Go ahead, Ryan. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Dr. Ryan Schaff, Associate Professor of Educational Technology, and I am Department Chair in the School of Education.
Yes, thank you. And we are the hosts of the Pop-Up Professional Learning. This is a grant-funded professional learning that is accessible to pre and in-service teachers or just community members who are interested in these technology topics. It is funded by the Maryland Center for Computing Education, and we are the eStream Learning Labs. So we have hosted about, are we on 4 or 5 now, Ryan?
One, two, three, four. This is five.
This is 5. Yeah, we've hosted 5 different sessions, and we hope you get something out of this that you can use in your own practice or just kind of learn about a new tool. We have a fabulous presenter today that Ryan is going to introduce, and then we're going to hand it off to her to get started.
Quick little tidbit. Keri was one of my graduate students back in the day. I will not say when. But anyway, Keri is the technology director and STEM educator at St. Mark's Catholic School in Catonsville, Maryland. She is also an adjunct professor at Notre Dame, Maryland University, teaching courses in digital game-based learning and design, as well as the Internet of Teaching for teaching and learning. She's the co-author of our book, The Learning Arcade, and the book that it highlights the power of game-based learning and provides practical strategies for using games in daily instruction. Keri, myself, and a team of graduate students also developed the digital learning game database, which features over 600 educational digital games. With experience teaching STEM to students from pre-K through eighth grade, Keri actively integrates digital games into her curriculum and supports teachers in bringing game-based gameplay into her classroom. So take it away, Keri.
Gosh, okay. Thank you so much, Brian. It's really honored to have you give my introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I can go ahead and get started. I'd like to say what a lot of you guys are using in your classrooms already. I also use a lot of IXL and Kahoot and all that kind of stuff. You guys can see my screen okay, right? All right, awesome. Um, so as they mentioned, I'm the technology director and STEM teacher, as well as an adjunct professor. So I have experience teaching 3-year-olds all the way through adults. And one thing is for certain, everyone loves games. I'll also talk further about the Learning Arcade and the digital learning game database throughout the presentation. All right, so welcome. Today we are going to learn why we should be using digital games in our classrooms. Obviously, if you are here, we're already on that track. We already want to integrate more digital games. We're also going to learn how to do that and what games to use. So I'll show you a couple featured ones as well as our digital learning game database. To add to the list of my roles in life, my most important role is mother to 2 little gamers. I am an advocate of screen time balance and harmony, which is why I think it is so, so important for educators and parents, of course, to curate the games that our students are playing. Not all games are created equal. Not all screen time is created equal, and making sure that the games are integrated at the right time in the lesson is really important. So to start, why games? So during formal and informal learning, there's extensive evidence of the benefits of play in human development and well-being, right? Play play-based learning has been vetted throughout the years. We also are giving students high motivation. So one example of this, which I was surprised I didn't see anyone mention in the chat, is Prodigy. A lot of students love Prodigy. They get really into it because it's a game about wizards using math and solving quests and collecting pet monsters. The game offers a range of collectibles, customization options, and engaging storylines, which keeps students coming back for more. All the while they're learning and practicing math. The teacher dashboard offers a bit of stealth assessment, which has an option for assigning what skill you want your students to be working on and then providing you data. So if your students are focusing on fourth grade or in fourth grade focusing on fractions, you can put up all those questions to be various types of fractions and then use that data to create your small groups. This takes away the grading from the teacher, which we all love, and it takes away that test anxiety for students as well and gives them a motivation for why they want to do it. Another reason digital games are unique is because they do something that other forms of media can't. They put the player in the driver's seat. When you are in that person's perspective, making those decisions and seeing what happens, we tend to make those experiences a little bit more part of our learning and exploring. But use Prodigy or have any other games that their students are really obsessed with, either for better or worse?
Hey, hey, Keri, this is Albert. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Albert.
What was the name of the website? And are you going to send us PowerPoint or the information of the websites for the games?
I certainly can. I'm sure that Chelsea and Ryan can help get this sent out to you all. I do also have some QR codes later in the slides, as well as our games database that you can take a look at all the games there. So that's going to be over 600 games for you. But
Perfect.
Mhm.
Is there a subscription that's needed or no?
No, no. If you want to learn more, you can be on the lookout for the Learning Arcade book coming out. But yeah, no, not for the database. But this particular game was Prodigy, starting with a P, Prodigy.
Got it.
All right. Thanks, Albert.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Digital games can be seamlessly woven into existing lesson plans, just as educators have historically used videos, simulations, and interactive activities to enhance learning. Just as teachers use YouTube videos to illustrate scientific concepts or assign podcasts for literary analysis, they can incorporate digital games as engaging instructional tools. During this time, educators are taking on less of a direct role and more of a curator, facilitator, guide, assessor, and motivator. And that's usually the goal of a lot of more modern teaching theories, right? The teacher moving to that guide on the side and allowing the students to learn at their own pace and to get those experiences that they're earning through trial and error. The strategies that educators already use to integrate multimedia, such as pre-game discussions, guided play, and post-game reflections, can easily be adapted for game-based learning. When thoughtfully implemented, digital games serve a versatile medium for delivering content, encouraging collaboration, and reinforcing critical thinking skills. By embracing their roles as facilitator rather than lecturers, educators can transform their classrooms into an interactive, learning-driven environment. All right. So while we are trying to integrate more digital games into our classroom, we want to make sure that we are scaffolding our students through that experience, right? We don't want to just throw them into a game, although sometimes that might be part of the lesson. But we want to make sure that we are providing some kind of context for before, during, and after. So before gameplay, you would want to set expectations by providing context, defining learning goals, and introducing key concepts that will help learners engage more meaningfully with the game. So for example, a history teacher using Mission US can begin by discussing Native American history and cultural perspectives before learners engage in the game. During the gameplay, you'll want to monitor progress, pose reflective questions, and provide strategic hints to guide learners throughout without directly giving away answers. So during this time, the facilitator might prompt learners with guiding questions, such as, how does your character's experience compare to what we've learned in class? What difficult decisions did you have to make and why? How might this experience relate to historical or modern issues faced by Indigenous communities? And again, something that we can notice here is that we're not necessarily asking about someone else, right? When we're doing a novel study, we'd ask students about the decisions a character made. Or if we're watching a movie, we would say, you know, how did that scene make you feel? But here we're actually asking the students, what difficult decision did you have to make during that gameplay? It allows them to really fill the shoes of the subject that they're learning. After gameplay, lead discussions, encourage learners to analyze their experiences, and connect game-based challenges to academic content or real-world applications. This structured approach ensures that the game serves as a tool for deeper learning rather than just an entertaining diversion. Anyone have any questions so far? Or anything they want to add?
You can always drop questions in the chat as well, and Ryan and I will read them out. So if you get any questions along the way, feel free to drop them in there for Keri.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chelsea. All right. So now to the fun stuff. When to use digital games. I mean, there's almost endless possibilities of where to include digital games into your lesson. An educator should consider the learning goals they want to achieve and use the game to help reach those goals. Sometimes a student needs additional real-world practice or they need to learn it in a different way. And this is just one of the ways games can help. So we can use digital games as anticipatory sets, as those hooks that are exciting our students, getting them into the content. And to begin with, we can use it as a warm-up. An introduction to a new concept. Sometimes you might have a student jump into a game before they learn the content. And that way, when you're going over it all, you have at least something to put to those names. You might use it for additional practice, even homework, informal assessments, pre-teaching and reteaching, or just to keep skills fresh after learning. We usually try to have warm-ups and things that practice old skills or skills from previous years, and that's a great spot for a digital game to come in. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about lesson sparks. In mine and Ryan's, Dr. Ryan Schaaf's book, we discuss lesson sparks a lot. Lesson sparks are an engaging activity, idea, or question designed to ignite learner interest and critical thinking at the beginning of a lesson. So it's not necessarily a full lesson. It's not a unit plan. It's just a starting point, acting as kind of that launch pad for the lesson to capture learner attention, create curiosity, and establish the real world connection. So when we are thinking about our lesson sparks for integrating games, we do want to think about them in 3 different levels in order to make sure that we're effectively integrating our digital games into our lessons. So level 1 would be the event level. So this is where the game is used for a short segment within a lesson. So there's a lesson derived around that one game where you're playing it for a short burst. Then lesson 2, lesson level integration. The game spans an entire lesson and supporting multiple activities. So this would be a game that is longer or a game where they're playing a little bit, doing a journal, playing a little bit, where the game is taking the forefront of that lesson. So you can kind of think about level one being a game that's popped into a lesson versus level two is a lesson built around a game. And then level three is unit or module level integration. The game is a central component of a multi-lesson unit or course module. I can share one thing that a teacher at my school does. So, as mentioned earlier, it's a Catholic school. The eighth grade religion teacher at my school, he has the kids learn a lot about cathedrals throughout the school year. And they learn about the architecture of the cathedral. They learn about all the religious aspects of a cathedral. What makes a cathedral? What kinds of things does it have to have in place? What kinds of things need to be considered when crafting one? And then at the end of the school year, they have a gigantic project where they build a cathedral in Minecraft education. And so that's a really cool way for them to take all of the things that they have learned and put that into one big unit that is taking place in a game. The kids are over the moon when they hear, oh my gosh, we get to play Minecraft in school. And it is a lot of fun. All right, so let's get into some games. So now we've talked a lot about why we would integrate digital games, and we have talked about when to integrate those digital games. So the next thing we want to talk about are what games to use and where to find them. So one of the most popular formats for games, for digital games in the classroom is browser-based games. Or a Chromebook or computer game. Chromebooks do have a Google Play on them, so you can download apps on them, which makes it pretty easy. Computers, sometimes you can download a software, but browser-based really is the easiest because you just pop in a link and you're able to get to the game right away. So I'm going to highlight a few browser-based games for us. They do have QR codes, so I encourage you to play along with me. And we can see what kind of lesson sparks we might create around the game. And we can also take a look at what the game is teaching us and who it might be for. All right, so this game is called Lore of the Labyrinth. This is one of my favorite browser-based games. This QR code right over here will take you straight to the game if you want to go ahead and play it. I know some of you may not have a bunch of different windows able to do that, but
The code back up real quick, Keri. Let's see the QR code.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm pulling it right back up. I'm sorry, Albert. I'm getting it for you. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. There we
Got
go.
it. Yep.
All right. Excellent. I can also pop the link down in the chat as well.
That's what I was just going to say, Keri. That's great. That might be easier for people that
Okay. So in Lore of the Labyrinth, we have this game is a bit of a puzzle math game. Fun little fact is that my mom is here on this webinar, and Mom, you're gonna love this game. So you have these different orbs down at the bottom, and we have all these different things. So this is part of a vending machine. So if you go on the link that is supplied in the chat, that link will take you to the main hub of it all, and then you can go to the vending machine part. The link that I put in the chat takes you directly to the vending machine. But they have all these different puzzles, and there's a narrative intro, so the kids get really excited. It's a great game for Halloween. It's got kind of spooky vibes. But here, I like to test it out by using the same color for all three. So I have all three green orbs, and three green orbs equals 21. So I got this little rotten banana thing down here. So now I can kind of think to myself, well, if three green orbs is 21, then that would be 21 divided by 3. So now I know that a green orb is 7, right? And then we could encourage students to keep up that critical thinking and using those division skills, using creating those equations to come up with the different solutions here. They also can, if you have students who are struggling a little bit, they can just go through trial and error and figure it out and see how it all works out, right? But so I can kind of see here the way that it's all breaking down with my different pieces here. So I know that those pinks equal 9. So I know that the pinks have to equal green 3, and I can kind of keep going through and doing that. What do you guys think? Did anybody play it? Where would you implement this game into your classroom if you were to use this?
This could be a good warm up, like a little review activity. It
Mhm.
also felt like a good jumping off point to then have students make their own version with things like on their desk or something. So they've got 3 items, and then other students have to guess and decide what they are in their own vending machines.
Yes, absolutely. I love those ideas, Chelsea. Very fun. Okay. And you can see from my screenshot too, because in the one we played just now, the three green dots equal 21, and in the screenshot from my gameplay yesterday, the three green dots equal 24. So it always is randomly generating it. So students can keep doing this and getting more and more practice so that they can have that opportunity. All right, next game. So this one is called Drag Race Division, and this comes from a gaming hub. So gaming hubs are really great because they have just a ton of games. So these would definitely be level 1 integration for where you would implement that into your lesson plan and your lesson sparks. It's really just going to practice some quick fluency. It's on the site Academics, and Academics has games that practice every single math skill, every phonics skill, anything that you want students to just be practicing and getting that extra practice. So I would say that this one would be great for something like homework. If you know that students have internet access at home and have a computer access, instead of giving them a worksheet of 10 problems, you could give them this game and tell them to play it for 10 minutes. They'll probably do way more than 10 problems in 10 minutes. Their parents won't have to fight with them to get their homework done, and they will get a lot more fluency practice. Anyone have any other creative ideas of where you could put this into your lesson instead of homework?
Keri, do you think that would be better as a quiz grade or a process or an assignment grade or both?
Well, it depends on so academics doesn't collect that data from the student. So you would be relying on the student to give you their score after, which you on the age of the kids. Yeah, there's a teacher at my school that if she does games like this, the plan that her and I came up with is she has the kids take a screenshot at the end of every level they do, and then they upload those screenshots to her so she does get that quick snapshot of how they're doing. But it's a little bit more of a assessment for the students themselves, right? A lot of times when students are doing things, even homework, for example, they do homework, they don't get it graded until the next day. They do a quiz, they don't get it back until maybe 2 days later. They do a classwork assignment and they don't get it back right away. Whereas when they're playing a game like this, they're getting that instant feedback. So they know right away if they are understanding the skill, if they're not understanding the skill, if they need additional practice or to ask for help. And you would quickly be able to tell if you're circulating the room who is getting frustrated with the game and needs more practice and who is whizzing through it all.
Is there a way to use the smart board where everybody can be seen and compete whole group?
That is an excellent question. Academics usually only goes up to 4 players, but yeah, you could definitely break your students into groups of 4 and have them do it on the smart board. I love that idea. Because the students can, in my screenshot, you can see I'm playing with computer characters, but you can have the students create private rooms where they can actually compete with each other. I love that idea.
Got it.
Yeah, that was a great idea, Albert. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm like all excited about that idea. I can't wait to go in and go to class doing that. Make like a tournament bracket.
Are there any games that you have where it's interactive on the smart board where the whole class can be seen and participate, and those scores can be used as data instantaneously? You can save it, record it, what have you.
Yeah, games like I mean, like Book It, that people mentioned earlier, and things like that. Kahoot too. It does offer that bit of gamified interaction with students. But sometimes, and those sites are wonderful, and they definitely are a lot of fun. We usually refer to the things like that as gamification as opposed to an actual digital game. Uh, because in that instance, it's really more taking a quiz and making it a leaderboard and making it a little bit more fun and interactive, um, as opposed to the students learning through a digital game where they are kind of interacting, maybe walking around, talking to characters in the game, having to use critical thinking skills and think about, okay, well, what do I do next? What's my first step? What's my second step? The drag race division, they have to work on that fluency and be quick with it. So things like that. But I can definitely try to, my contact information is at the end, Albert. And if you email me, I will try everything to find a game that would fit exactly what you're talking about.
100%.
All right. Next, I'm going to highlight one of my absolute favorite games. It's called Roto Kodo. As mentioned at the beginning, I am a STEM teacher, so I do teach my students coding. And Roto Kodo is one of my favorite ones to do it. It is browser-based, so students can just pull it up right away. It goes through traditional levels, but the levels really do start to get tricky. And students have to really think critically about how they can get from one place to another. They've learned things like loops and functions, and they have to be, sometimes they're limited on the number of actions that they can put in their code, the number of steps in their sequence. So this game, one of the other things I love about
Carrie, sorry to interrupt. Just be careful. Your audio is kind of slipping in and out. It's been doing it through the webinar a little bit here and there. Just make sure you're close to the computer. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I appreciate that feedback. I did see your thing in the chat. Thank you for letting me know, Ryan. So I love with Roto Kodo that it is really accessible to all ages. It has interactions for the 7-year-olds, 7 to 11-year-olds, and then if you did get a paid version, it has even more. I even find some of the levels tricky. It is a lot of fun. But one of the things that's really great is how adorable it is. And as I mentioned, how challenging it can get. So they just kind of drag and drop. There's very little reading. And that's another thing you want to think about when you are using a game, especially for something like assessment, is if you are trying to test a student's skill on something, if the game requires a lot of reading, then your student's reading ability is going to impact their performance in that game. Whereas something that doesn't have a lot of reading is a lot more accessible to students who even have a lower or below grade level reading ability. But this game is so fun. It's one of my favorites, and it's got the cutest little pixelated cat. My students love it. My middle school students love it. My 4-year-old can play it. It's really wonderful. And as you can see, it doesn't punish the student from failing and trying again. And that's one of the most wonderful things that games do that a lot of other aspects of school don't. When we're giving a student a quiz, typically whatever they get is what they get. And when they're doing something in their classrooms, some kind of assignment, if they mess up, it's in front of everybody, and that kind of goes with them throughout the day. Whereas in a game, it's encouraged to fail. It's encouraged to go through it through trial and error, and gives them that opportunity to really get that learning ingrained in their head. So, yeah. But you can see the game gets really, really cute with, here there's like portals you're going to go through. And then eventually you start to get the loops, and there's different color portals, and it does go on. If you need any kind of relaxing but challenging game, this one is one of my favorites. Or if you have kids at home who want to learn coding, I definitely suggest it. All right. Okay. So the most exciting part of the night, our digital learning game database. So as mentioned earlier, as part of mine and Dr. Schaaf's book, The Learning Arcade, we have created a digital learning game database. It is still ongoing. I don't think it will ever be finished. It will be a complete, always updating as games come out, as things get replaced. There's currently over 600 games listed on it. If you scan that QR code, it will open it up for you in Google Sheets. I'll give you guys a minute to do that before I jump over to it to show you. But you'll see that it is categorized by a multitude of different things. So you can search for a game based on the accessibility of your platform. So if you need something that students can do on a Chromebook, you would want to grab something that is web or browser based. If you want something that you can download on tablets, if your students have access to, class sets of iPads or things, you can look for those iOS games. You also can look for the prices of things if you're looking for something that's free or maybe something that does cost a little bit of money. I know money is not something educators typically have, but sometimes the game really can be worth it. I know I've bought a couple games over the years that my students still play, and I've definitely gotten my money's worth. You'll also be able to see the game description, which gives you a little snapshot into what the game is like, what it's about, what they might learn. And then there's also content tags. So the content tags come at the end, where you have those subject areas, but then in more depth are the content tags. So for example, if you are looking for something that is science and you wanted to teach your students about gravity, you could grab Rolling Thunder right here. You're going to have a link that you can grab. It is a web-based browser game, and then you can jump right into it. I'm going to mute my site. But you can jump right into it, and you can do it yourself and then figure it out. The biggest piece of advice that I have for anyone trying to implement games is to play the games yourself. Set aside one night a week where you grab a computer, grab your phone, grab the games, and just play them. And have fun playing them. That used to be my morning coffee thing. I would, in the morning when I'm drinking my cup of coffee, I would choose one game that I already downloaded or already had the link set up and play it. Just test it out. See what it's like. Because if it's frustrating for you, it's going to be frustrating for your students. It'll give you an idea of what prerequisites your students are going to need before they play the game. It will give you a clear idea of what to have them do after the game to process what they've just played through. And if you have children, having your children play test is one of the best. My kids are 3 and 6, and so they are two of my biggest play testers. Anytime I get a new STEM toy or try out a new digital game, I always have them do it. It gives me a little insight into can a 6-year-old do it independently kind of thing. Because we want to always have that lens as we're going through and playing these games, right? Are the students going to be frustrated? Will they be able to play it independently? Do I want them to partner up? Is this something that they play after I've done my lesson or before I've done my lesson or for reinforcement the next day? So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to explore this game, the digital learning game database. I encourage everyone to take a peek through it, and maybe pop 1 or 2 games in the chat that you are excited to try out and that you are excited to play. Yeah. Is it terrain? Do you also have kids who play test for you or just play testing yourself? I know a lot of the games that adults play, kids really love. You know, the ELA teachers at my school, they allow the kids to do Wordle and connections when they finish their work early, and they're just super into it the same way we are, you know. Sometimes they spoil me on it and then I can't do it at night, but that's okay. Anybody want to highlight a game that they would be excited to try out?
Wingspan looks interesting.
Yeah. And Wingspan is also based on a board game, I believe. So I think that there's also then multiple ways for students to engage with the content.
Yeah, it looks like it said biology and ecosystems.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to drop this link in the chat?
Yes, that is a wonderful idea. There we go.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Chance of Sonar is one that is really good for like language learning, which is a hard one to get. In that game, you are uncovering a language little by little. And so not only is it good for, it's not teaching an actual language, it's just teaching the idea of not knowing a language and slowly learning it and picking up through context. And then once you know one word, then and you confirm that you know that word, then it's like you start to slowly learn more and more. But a lot of schools are trying to focus more on social emotional learning and community building and having students play that game together as a whole class and kind of being put in the shoes of a person learning a language for the first time and having and just kind of being thrown in and having to learn on the fly can be really fun. So even though Chance of Sonar is one that would have to be, you can play it on PC. It's also on Switch. I have to add that in there. I think it just came out on Switch more recently. But you could play that one on the screen with your students. You wouldn't need to buy multiple copies of it and have the students write a reflective journal of what it felt like to be in the shoes of that character. So even though some of these games aren't necessarily tied to academic standards, they still are teaching students things that are really wonderful. I do agree with you, Kelly. I think that would also be really wonderful. We'll have to go through and add that in to make sure that people know within a quick look what age range it's for. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree, Dr. Shaw. Games do teach a lot of collaboration, problem solving, that trial and error. Okay, so Kelly, you said you teach fifth grade. I mean, everything on academics would be great for your fifth graders, Kelly. Um, Prodigy is also another good one, as I was mentioning earlier. Scribble Knots is another really cute one. I guess that's one that is paid, but you would have the option to have your students play it on the board. Scribble Knots has the player go through a level and they are interacting with a series of obstacles. So, for example, they might be walking and there's a rock in front of them. And then what they can do is add an adjective to that item. So, for example, a winged rock. And now the rock would spawn wings and fly above, and they would be able to go underneath the rock. Or they could say that the rock is a uh, bubble rock, and then they can walk through the bubble. So there's like an endless amount of ways to solve the problems, and all of the problems are solved by adding adjectives or descriptor words to items. So that would be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really silly things too that would be that they can do with that. Ooh, Challenge 24, Charles. That's really fun. I love that. Yes, Endless Oceans, if any students are doing any kind of marine biology, is very detailed, lots of facts. I have an oceanographer in my house, so we've played that one before. 2048 is really addictive. Oh, Code Combat's another really good one. Code Combat does have a paid version, but they also have a free version if anybody teaches coding. It's great for like middle school age. Now that you said that, Kelly, I need to go add these ages in ASAP. Another good one for like kindergarten through maybe fourth grade is Teach Your Monster to Read. And then there's some spin-off ones like Teach Your Monster Math and Teach Your Monster Reading for Fun. Those are a lot of fun. It's kind of first person. The kids build an avatar character and they like walk around and talk to people and do all these stuff and they collect books in the game, which is really fun. GeoGuessr is another one that my students are really oddly obsessed with, which you wouldn't expect. But they have a lot of fun with it. I'm not going to sign up for that right now. I have an account on my school account, but does anybody have any questions or any last thoughts? I know we've got our hard deadline of 7. Is there an updated version? Oh, that's a great question. There is an updated version of Oregon Trail. I know that's not geography, but
Um,
let's.
I can answer this one. There is one. Google Earth a few years ago created a Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego Google. It's like a Google Earth edition. Sorry. Of course, I have a friend trying to call me doing this. Um, it's if you search like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego and do Google Earth, it should come up. I think it's actually a part of the database, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking for it. Let me search.
There it is.
All right.
I'll see if I can find the Google Earth version real quick.
Yeah, this is um there are some games that are on Netflix. Um, and some of them are, oh, there we go. All right, we're gonna have to add this in.
Yeah, add it to the list.
Yeah, so it's never finished.
Yep.
Hmm.
Hey Doc, can I ask you a question?
Is that for me or for Dr. Shaw?
Dr. Shah, question.
Okay.
Yes.
Give me your top five out of these countless websites, URLs. Give me your top five. And then you too, Keri. Top
Well,
five.
what do you teach, Albert?
Yeah, that's the first question I'd ask.
Well, I'm secondary history government, but I'm just curious about you guys. And you can do your level, college, elementary, either or. I'm just curious.
I love sandbox games, so there's Minecraft, there's Sandbox, which is it's kind of like a version of Minecraft. Let me see some back in the day I made an argument that there was what is it? Darn it, Medal of Honor to Allied Assault was a great history game. Violent, but it taught World War II very well. That game's kind of really outdated because it was, goodness, it was a PC game from 15, 20 years ago. But I could see actually teaching history with it because it was authentic and it was actually from the World War II veterans talking about all their D-Day missions and all the other missions that were going on about it. So it's very realistic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is
Uh,
that online upgraded now or no?
I don't think so. It's probably it was,
Oh,
it's now Medal of Honor, now it's Call of Duty, which did a very similar game. Now it's gone modern and it's just like espionage and it's just, shoot 'em up. There's was it Mission US is that's a good one for like simulation and trying to understand like culture through history. Another good one for history would be, oh my goodness, I'm hitting
Sid Meier's Civilization.
yeah, that's a good one as well. What's the one with who's created by Sandra Day O'Connor? The son, oh darn it, it has all the social studies games. It's like, you be the judge. It's
Oh, the iCivics.
yeah, iCivics. That's a great.
yes.
So that's a collection of a
Yeah.
lot of good social studies games. They're in there someplace. I just was running
Yeah.
into a roadblock, couldn't
No,
remember.
no, iCivics is on the clever application.
Yeah, they're sharing. They share it. So iCivics was created, and then they probably ported it over to Clever. Yeah. So
How about government?
I mean, iCivics
That,
has a lot of government in it too.
okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah. There are other ones, and you have to remember is like in the book, and I'm not trying to shill a book right this second, but it talks about the strategies of how to look for them too, because I have 600 games here that Carrie and I have kind of curated, but it may not
Mhm.
meet what you need, so you can actually look for them. And it's not a perfect process. It's not like there's millions of games that were created and you can find them perfectly. So it's kind of like sometimes it's a little hit or miss.
Right. Is your book audio as well?
It is going to be. We're working on trying to get it published, so it's going to be digital and it's going to be paper based.
Got it.
Yep,
Can't wait.
Yeah.
What's the
we're
title,
working
Doc?
on it. I'll make sure to send it. I'll send you a little ad for it when it
Yeah.
finally comes out, if it ever does.
What's the title, Doc? What do you think the title will be?
It'll be the Learning Arcade.
Learning Arcade. Got it.
Yep. Keri, we have just a few more minutes. Anyway, Keri, it's if there's anybody else who wants to share their favorites, by all means.
I know. Or just what are you guys playing these days? What is everyone? My favorite types of games are puzzle games. So I do like, like a couple puzzle mobile games, but I really like to play I played Blueprints recently. I don't know if any of you guys have heard that. I was really obsessed with it over the summer. It was
Oh,
a
township.
township. Oh yes. A ton of my students are really into that too.
Yeah.
Blueprints was really good if you're into puzzles. It gets really hard at the end, and I don't think anybody ever finishes it. I'm sure somebody somewhere has,
Yeah.
but you are navigating through a old mansion by placing different rooms down and then uncovering mysteries and having to kind of put together combinations of stuff.
Okay, there's also Gris, Gris. So Gris is a nice abstract problem-solving game. There's no violence. It's got a female protagonist that, if you're used to all the, if you tired of all the tropes about the, females in gaming, it's done beautifully because again, there's no violence, there's no like bloodshed. It's her solving problems. And it's very beautiful. It's got like angelic music. It starts monochromatic, but every time you go through a level, it adds a color. It is truly mesmerizing. I had the game for a while on my Switch, and then my son sold the Switch. But you can easily go, it's GRIS. It won all sorts of awards. That is probably in my top five. It's great for social emotional learning because it talks about it explores the stages of grief.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow.
Yeah, it's deep and it's a non-traditional type of games. Those are usually the most magical ones. Just a warning, we've got about a minute to wrap up, unfortunately.
I think we had one more question, Keri, for escape
Yeah,
room.
the escape rooms. I know. I feel like that's something that there needs to be more digital games for. Kelly, I'm assuming do you do escape rooms with Google Forms already and you're looking for something new? Um, just in case, you can use Google Forms as escape rooms because you can make it so that the student has to get the answer correct before they move on to the next section of the Google form. And so then you can provide them with any number of different things to uncover, and then they'd have to go back to the Google form and put their answer in before they can proceed to the next one. Um, and those I know, I mean, I when I taught fifth grade math, yeah, there's also, I don't want to plug Teachers Pay Teachers, but a lot of people make them on there. Yeah, if you're looking for escape rooms just for fun, there's one called Escape Academy. It's a two-player game. My husband and I loved it. We had many, many date nights playing that.
Hey,
Um,
Doc, real quick before we get out of here, can you put the link for Grist?
Just search it. I don't have one like right off the top of my head. It's
I
also in
can
the
get it.
database too.
Got
Uh,
it.
Mhm.
Carrie, would you like to put up your contact information before we have to leave?
Yes.
I can share it if you want. I have that last slide, Keri, I can share.
Yeah, that would be great, Chelsea. I didn't because we had it in there, I didn't add it to mine. That would have been smart.
Hopefully everyone can see Keri's contact information. So if you have any additional questions, of course you can ask her. If you had any new ideas, I know we heard a lot of people thinking about what they were using in the chat. If anything
Mhm.
else came to mind, feel free to drop it in the chat. Any final thoughts? Keri, I'll hand it off to you and Ryan to close us out with any final thoughts.